Good morning, everybody.
And good morning, everybody. And welcome back to another episode of the Good News from Yurt Nation.
That's right. That's right, ain't it? Good news.
The good news.
Got some good news every morning. So this morning, as you've seen on the title, the one and only. Yeah. The one and only. And the Bible thought out of Job 37:14. Listen to this, O Job. Stand still and consider the wondrous works of God. Yeah. I mean, if you've ever been anywhere, I don't know, like a famous national park or something, or just out in the middle of nowhere, and you see this beautiful stream or this beautiful stream that maybe pours off of a cliff, and beautiful waterfall. It's things like that and me and Cynthia both absolutely try to do so much. And living where we live, we can just stand back in awe and see the beauty and the wondrous works of God.
Can't put a price on that.
No. And places that we've never seen with our eyes, being there in the flesh, but have seen on video and, all across this nation and the world that are absolutely just wondrous works of God,
Mm-hmm.
Man. So with that saying right there, with me saying all that, we believe that God created the earth, the sun and moon, stars, and everything else. Yeah. And so here we go. Today's Bible reading is out of John 1. John, the first chapter, 1 through 3. And if you've ever read John, the first chapter, the first verses down through there, just listen how it's written. And who is it talking about? Right. And so here we go with chapter 1 of John. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. The same was in the beginning with God. And that's referencing to Genesis, where He created. All things were made by Him, and without Him was not anything made that was made. Now, I don't know how you want to interpret that, or anybody else could interpret it any different, that God made everything. And we know that there's scientists and people out there that absolutely don't believe in God created anything, much less whatever they believe, Big Bang Theory. And it's just like, how in the world can you grasp and hang on to that to believe that up here in the just something happened, Big Bang, and then all of a sudden these little bitty tiny microorganisms that you can't see, and then millions, notice they always throw 27 million years later, but it took a microorganism and over millions of years grew into a worm or something, and then the worm grew into something that had legs that crawled. I mean, come on. No. How in the world? Look, it's simple. God created. Who's God? Well, God is love. God is light. God is everything. It says right here, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. So God, He spoke it into existence.
Yeah.
So there's that. And then if you read on, and I encourage anybody that hasn't, read on down into John, that first chapter right here. And I will say this, in verse 10 and 11, He was in the world, and the world was made by Him, and the world knew Him not. He came unto His own, and His own received Him not. So there's where we believe the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit are one. You know what I mean? God in flesh, Emmanuel, came to this earth. And he was with God when God created this earth and created man, because it says, let's create man in our image. So that's what I believe, and that's what we believe. So let me put my glasses back on, so I can see here. But anyways, the one and only. Here's the devotion written by this man here. When my wife and I retired, one of our favorite activities was taking our travel trailer out to the state parks and to other places where we can find mountains. And mountains, are absolutely beautiful. We are a little, biased when it comes to mountains, partial to it, because, wow, we live here in them. They're not no big, huge, 4, 5, 6,000 feet above sea level mountains, but, regardless, it's mountains. And the way of life in the mountains and the beauty and the nature and the cooler temperatures is like none other across this nation in our book. So these people, they would take their travel trailer out to state parks and go to find mountains, which a lot of you folks do that. And we've even done it, truck camping. But we went to other parts of the country that didn't have what we have. We would leave behind the heat and noise of the city and the to-do list just to be quiet with God and to enjoy the awesome creation made by His hands. Throughout the years, we were amazed at the beauty, artistry, and even humor in God's handiwork. There are so many wildflowers, birds, critters of all kinds, rivers, and lakes. And man, is that not the truth? You find a place that has some water running, whether it's a little river or creek or whatever, or a lake, you'll see wildlife. You sit there quiet enough, you will hear some amazing sounds. Sometimes sounds that might kind of freak you out. But you're out in nature, God's creation. Man, we love it, y'all. We love it. And that's why we choose to live in the country and not a town or city. We even noticed that a breathtaking sunrise on a glorious cool morning makes coffee taste much better. Yeah. At night, we could sit outside and try to count the stars, gazing in awe at the Milky Way and the sheer number of bright stars and planets. It's amazing if you can get out of any kind of man-made light and sit there in darkness and look up on a clear night.
Nothing's better than that.
Yeah.
It don't get no better than that.
You stand in awe. There's no words come out. And if it is, it's repeating the same thing, or trying to show, oh, look at that, It's amazing.
And I'm going.
Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah. And so sometimes I like going back to the first chapter of Genesis to read the description of how God created all of the skies and the heavens, the earth and seas and everything in them. Nehemiah chapter 9 verse 6. God saw all that He had made, and it was very good. Genesis 1:31. In all our travels, it has been very humbling to see the evidence of just how big, powerful, and magnificent our God is. And that is true. Over the past 3 years, me and Cynthia's been able to travel some. Not a lot. We've not seen a lot of different states, only a few. But where we've traveled on those back roads that are less traveled, we've seen beauty. We've stopped and pulled over and, or seen, or took a mental photograph of it, and we have it in our mind and talk about it to this day. on when we went around traveling to Florida, through beautiful Georgia into Florida, and then, you know, back through, and then out through Arkansas and Oklahoma. And you know, you say, oh, that ain't much. Well, it ain't. But if you put yourself and go down on a map as a little bitty speck on that highway, yeah, you don't see much. But we've seen enough of the beauty to know, and we already knew how wonderful and how powerful and how big and how magnificent God really is. There's beauty everywhere. And you know, you can see it. There's evidence of it. A lot of people over the history of making little towns and cities and whatever across this nation has preserved what they had in their county or city or town. They've preserved what God made, because you can't remake it. People can remake little waterfalls, you know, and streams, and they do on landscaping. Why? Because they want what God made right there in their backyard. Because it's peace. You can't get that nowhere else. And when you do man make it, yeah, that helps. You know, like the Japanese, like those gardens, or what are they called?
Oriental garden.
And, you know, it's with rock, it's with water, it's with wood. And am I missing anything? Did they have fire?
Trees.
Or just water, wood, rock? Maybe not.
Oh, they had that, but the main thing was...
Right. Why did we do that as people? It's connection. It's a connection with who made you. You know what I mean? We were his greatest creation out of everything that you see with your eyes. Like Cynthia's always saying and always has said, you have a purpose. You're special. You are worth. Don't give up. Why? Because you are God's greatest creation. We are wonderfully and fearfully made. And we get to go out here and enjoy and experience what God made for us. You know what I mean? So
that's special.
It is. So whether it be day, morning, through the day, evening, or in the dark of midnight, you can go outside and listen and see God's awesome power. So you know what? Like that one song, how great is our God. Right?
I've sang that before to God because I thought he's the only one that thinks I can sing. You know what I mean?
Right. That's right.
So all of the you know, professional singer that I am.
Yeah.
No. He loves when I sing.
Right. Exactly.
I know it's surprising, but
everybody else may not love when we sing, but God does.
God does, though.
Yeah, that's right. So, if you're in the city or a town or whatever, and you can't really get out, you can actually look out, though. You know? And I hope that there are trees. I hope that there's something.
Flowers.
That's a remnant of what God has made, you know? Yeah, and that you can
just
see.
Looking at the sky.
Yeah, just simply looking up at the sky. If you can't see nothing but buildings around you and asphalt and concrete, at least you can look up.
Mm-hmm. Whenever I was young, like younger, to I don't know, I used to lay on my back and look up, and I would make animals or hearts or whatever the look from the clouds.
Yeah.
And that's really warming to me.
Yeah, I used to do that a lot.
Because you y'all try it.
Yeah,
y'all
maybe you have. Yeah. So we'll see y'all on the next, and thank y'all so much for watching. And let's go out and enjoy God's beauty, right?
That's
Peace
right.
out. Love you all. Yeah.
And I just want to say, you guys, to please never give up, because you're so you're so special, and you have a beautiful purpose.
That's right.
Hey, I promise, you guys. Promise. So that being said, you guys, we'll see you on the beautiful next one.
That's right.
And always remember, love you guys.
Yeah. See y'all. Have a good day.
You're